Doing a live call-in with Brad for Shadow Trader to discuss Tesla. Hold on one sec, guys. Just waiting for him to pick up.
What's up, Justin P? What's going on?
Brad, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for taking the time to call in, and appreciate your input last week as well, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, last week's call got a lot of good feedback. A lot of people were telling me that they happened to catch it and they thought it was pretty good.
It was awesome, dude. All right, so I know you wanted to give some more color on Tesla, man, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, so Tesla, I had actually discussed a little. I also do some weekend videos, so I had discussed a little bit in Tesla. If you take a look at the bottoms, it had a look below that 185, and then you had Elon Musk with a tweet that made a higher low, and then it was sort of just chop. I think that there were still a lot of people who were short, and a lot of people were playing for that horizontal type of breakdown, which, as you know, is the harder type of breakdown to play for, particularly when something's been in a protracted down move for a considerable period of time.
Correct. Yep.
So I saw that as an opportunity that anything above his sort of tweet day high, which was 192.25, was a long, and you can see you had this gap and go today that now is starting to challenge the primary down channel line. In the past, Tesla's had a lot of support between this 203.64 and 206.84, so obviously what was support becomes resistance, but the manner in which we got there and the type of news that took us there was a pre-announcement, and Tesla saying that they have record sales. So now I'm thinking that, like you were saying on the show, they have a high short interest. Let's see. According to that website, there's one I like to use sometimes. It's called shortsqueeze.com.
I've seen that before.
And they have Tesla's outstanding percentage of the float at 25.65%. So my thinking is that if we know the quarter is good, what's the reason not to be long the stock? So I think those shorts today is day one of a squeeze, and I think that the stock is probably now going to continue up and fill up the triangle, so to speak, somewhere between maybe up to 121.48.
I'm sorry, you said 221.48?
Yeah, 221.48.
Okay.
That was that.
I'm in agreement because I was bearish on the name before today's information. Elon Musk's tweet obviously has a look below and a higher low. Wasn't generally, not that I was aggressively short by any stretch, but it was still in this descending channel, and then all of a sudden today's numbers obviously pretty bullish, so that was why I jumped on board. So I'm kind of with you, and I like the stock, and I'm going to be trying to hold it for big gains. Double digits is really what I'm looking for. So
Are you playing it with shares or you're playing it with options? Stock. So I think the question is a lot of viewers are probably asking what now if they didn't buy it, and they might feel they have a bit of a late trade entry. But my thinking is that might be correct. They might want to wait another day and see if the gains hold. I could see if there is a pullback, it's potentially possible to the 50 MA here. If you take a look at the last couple of swing highs, that was the resistance. So now I would think that would be the support. It's also midway into today's candle, so I think somewhere around 201.86 would be a good point to buy. But the easier play might be at this point is to sell some out of the money puts. We know where the lows were, and we know that the quarter is going to be good, so why not use the opportunity to sell some out of the money premium? Potentially to buy some maybe out of the money premium, like maybe a risk reversal call spread, to sell some out of the money puts to buy a call spread.
Buy a vertical, right? I agree. Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, I'm glad we're in agreement here, and I like your 221 target.
If you have shares, I bet you do.
I might take a little bit more off at the 208 area. It did hit the 207.75. Thinking about scaling some more off at 8 bucks, but I'm going to wait and give it some time and see what happens. But yeah, I like the stock. I like also your call of professional gap, like really trying not to give people a chance to get in. But
Yeah, I mean, I do think it has the potential here to be a professional gap. Obviously, it needs to confirm, but it has the classic signs of it. I mean, if you take a look at the last couple of days, you know, the tweet sort of started to give a little bit, and then if you were still short Friday, you were probably thinking, you know, no big thing here. The stock is still hovering around lows, and then today you just get completely slammed in the face. You know.
I know, it's tough, like for those shorts. So
Yeah.
that's kind of also why I jumped on. I mean, you saw 25 point something, I saw 26% short flow, so pretty much the same thing. So to me, there was a confluence of things. I mean, shorts getting squeezed and some positive fundamental data, which I know a lot of traders, not that listen to our program, but you know, the big fund managers, things like that, they're definitely more on fundamentals. That might attract some buyers as well. So the confluence of those two things, felt pretty confident in that stock. So.
There's also the Tesla story has always been to me a poorly distributed stock that has high concentrated insider ownership. Like
Exactly.
Elon Musk and his relatives own like half the company. So
Yeah.
it seems to me like there might be a squeeze here in the offing, particularly if we know the quarters is going to be good. This is like you guys always talk about, today's day one, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, buddy, I appreciate it. We got to wrap up here for this morning, so thank you so much, and we'll talk to you a little bit later.
Absolutely, Brad. Take it easy, my friend.
Okay, man. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye. Hey guys, how are you? I guess I could stay on for a couple more minutes. Does anyone have any questions about the Tesla call that we just did? I can see comments if you guys post. Also curious to see what you guys think about the sound. This is the new lavalier mic. Hopefully it's a little bit crisper. Would love a little feedback. Let's see. Sounds like buy on dips. Yeah, I think it's a buy the dips now. More bullish on Tesla or Twitter? Twitter, let's see, can you make a video on put ratios? Yeah, I could probably do a video on put ratios. I'll discuss it. So I would say Tesla maybe a little bit over Twitter at this point, just because it has some catalyst and news, and it does have that high short interest. So I think that the path of least resistance is likely higher. I would be a little bit wary anywhere below 203. Like I had said on the show, I think that 201.86 would be a good row buy. So let's say if we get below there, it could be a little bit of trouble. I use TOS as my trading platform. With regard to put ratios, I'll just do a little quick talk about it now. The idea is that you want the stock to come down. It's sort of the Chicken Little way of being short. Sell Tesla. The more near dated, the better. I would. It just depends on the premium. I think that you could sell strikes below 185. If you really want to be kind of Chicken Little-ish, you can go. I would say somewhere between 175 and 150 would be a good short put area. Yeah, me too. I'm not. I wasn't necessarily looking to call a bottom in the weekend video. I was just saying I was starting to see some things that, for the first time in a long time, that I thought that the chart was starting to look more bullish, and that kind of got me back on board again, thinking long. I do believe Elon Musk follows the stock, and I think he is looking to manipulate it higher at this point. Okay, any more questions, guys? Sorry, this was a little bit of an impromptu Periscope. I hadn't planned on doing it, but I had been chatting with Brad, and we wanted to discuss about Tesla, so I figured why not jump on Periscope and bring access to more people. I know not everyone has TOS, and not everyone is in the platform. Let's see, I'm getting some messages on Twitter. Mic sounds good. Yeah, I thought so too. This was an expensive mic. It was like $80. It's supposedly a smartphone mic. It should be a lot better. Thanks, though, for the feedback. I appreciate it. Any other questions while we're up here? Do you guys want to talk about trading gaps and hearing a little bit about what I was thinking this morning with the gap down? I had gotten a couple of questions from people asking. One tweet I had gotten was is it a better idea to sell on the open and then to buy back lower? And I thought it was a bad idea because there's often a counter trend move, and everyone seemed to be fearful and short. And I had said to look at the internals, and you can see that the market just gunned up. I guess a lot of people had been positioned short. And my take now is that the Fed is on hold for at least 2 to 3 cycles with regard to economic data. They had revisions in the January and February numbers down, and these numbers were really kind of punk, not good. And you also had the Atlanta Fed lower their GDP forecast to 0 for the quarter. Now, 2 quarters back-to-back of negative growth is a recession, and they are terrified of that. So I can't really see what the impetus would be to be raising rates at this juncture. It just wouldn't make sense to me. If anything, they should be lowering rates and talking about more QE, which would absolutely not shock me with these depraved people. Any other questions coming on here? One of the keys, by the way, to gaps is to see if you take out the overnight low. We never did that. The market just went straight up. If you started coming down and you took out that overnight low, then I think you'd probably have, by the way, continuation short lower, or at the very least it would be chop. Yeah, Periscope seems a little bit more stable. I know they just had a update. Hopefully the new app is better. You came in late with Tesla. My upside target, if we can hold over 206s, is to go up to 221. That would be a filling up of the triangle. There would be some resistance at 218 also. Keep your eye on the market. So somewhere between 218 and 221. The better way that I think to play it right now is to sell out of the money puts. You probably want to keep your strikes, I would say, below 185. I would even be a little safer with below 175. And if you want to be real chicken little, somewhere between 175 and 150. You also have some channel support down there if we do happen to collapse, but I really don't see why that would happen now that we know the quarter is going to be good. We know because they pre-announced that they had record sales. So they do have a very high short interest still. It's like 26-something% of the float in today's day one of a rally. I would say that a pullback to, like I said, the 201.86 is still, which is the 50-day moving average, would still be quote-unquote healthy. Probably a better place to enter than now, right into resistance. You probably have a lot of people chasing day trading, trying to catch the coattails, and they don't realize it's into resistance. So I'd be a little bit careful initiating here. I'd maybe play a wait and see till tomorrow. Best to wait until end of day. Yes, that's what I was just saying as I saw your tweet come up. It might be a little bit of a better idea to wait until the end of the day, considering we had a bit of a P formation forming here in the ES. If you take a look, when you see that straight up move and then a build to the sideways, it forms a letter P, and that basically causes it's basically indicative of a short squeeze, as opposed to the liquidation break that just hovers around at the lows, which forms the B profile. I have a dedicated video to this if you check out my YouTube channel about market profile. I don't like to go too far out. Be mindful you have the earnings that are coming out with Tesla. For me, I would be looking, which option series? I would be looking, if you can get it on, I wouldn't go more than 25 to 32 DTE is the absolute max I would go with selling out of the money puts. Actually, I would rather have a higher strike at this point with less days to expiration so that theta decay kicks in and it decays quickly in case there's some type of a pullback, like maybe there's some profit taking into earnings and you don't want to be saddled up with tons of short puts. So that's that with regard to premium sales for Tesla. Anyhow, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I'm going to probably do another live Q&A Periscope, more likely on, I think, Wednesday we're going to shoot for this week. My plan is to maybe do Periscope on Wednesdays, excuse me, and then the weekend review on Sundays. If you guys really like the Periscope, I've been actually talking with a few of my more regular followers and personal friends who were actually thinking maybe I should start doing a daily Periscope, like for 15 minutes. I'm seeing a ton of hearts going off on that one. I may start doing a daily Periscope for like 15 minutes, maybe like a midday update, sometime maybe after Fast Money. I could do my take maybe on what these guys have said, or I could do maybe a pre-market type of thing or an end-of-day wrap-up. Please tweet me on the stream. Let me know what your thoughts are about that, and I guess we'll discuss that a little bit later on. As you know, it's always mob rule for me. That would be great right after Fast Money. Yeah, maybe we'll start doing that. I know a lot of people watch that. I also watch it on occasion. I'm actually friendly with some of the Fast Money traders. They were very nice enough to invite me to the show. I actually was there for a live taping. So I could potentially do an after show type of a stream. So maybe we'll work on that. Some days the best days actually to do Periscope are on days like this when I know a lot of people are involved in the market, because there was a lot of action, I know, on Friday with the futures, and people are really nervous, and I think that tends to get people to want to tune in a little bit more. I'm just looking at some of the stuff coming in on Twitter. I'm going to see. Yeah. Yep. So anyhow, are there any more questions before we tune out for today? I see there's still a bunch of you guys guys and girls in the room. No? All right. So who to follow on Twitter? Just follow me. You'll be all right. I'll tell you, there are some varying qualities of other people on Twitter that are that are good. I think you could follow Peter from Shadow Trader. He's a good guy. He's a personal friend of mine. We're actually going to be collaborating on some stuff in the future as well. So he's one I think is okay. There are a few others. My big issue with following a lot of people on Twitter, if you start following too many people and you have too many voices in one ear, it can sometimes paralyze you into inaction. A lot of my play is very neutral. Like, I kind of come into the market every day, not 100% sure if we're going up or down, and I just take what the market gives me and go where the day takes me. I come in with some preconceived notions where I think things are going to go, but if it switches, you guys have seen me rock and roll, flip from long to short or from short to long, so I don't necessarily see that in a lot of other streams. I think a lot of people come in with a lot of ego and a lot of preconceived notions, and they wind up hurting themselves and probably the people that follow them. So anyhow, I guess we'll wrap up for the morning. But it was good for you guys to come in. And Brad is the host of a show called Shadow Trader. They're the in-house chat room on TOS. They're good friends of mine. I do calls with them quite regularly. I was just on with Brad on Tasty Trade a few days ago, and we had also done we do a lot of regular call-ins, and if anyone listens on Shadow Trader, they know about that. I'm usually a regular contributor. Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I will touch base with you guys. So Wednesday is going to be the live Q&A, and you are the first to know it. Come up with some questions for me. If anyone has anything in particular that they want me to come pre-prepared with for a little bit more of a extensive explanation, just tweet it out to me and put the hashtag PeriscopeJP. I will look at those first, and it will be a first come, first serve. So I will catch you guys later. Cheers.